individually. The man who killed an American tourist in Hungary is sent to prison.
31-year-old Mackenzie Machalski from Portland, Oregon, was on vacation in Hungary when she went missing in November 2024. Investigators say she met her killer at a nightclub before leaving for the man's apartment. There, she was beaten and strangled. An Irish citizen identified only by the initials LTM has been found guilty of her murder and sentenced to 14 years in prison. There's no possibility of parole. After his arrest, the then 37-year-old man claimed Machalski's death was an accident, but police say he tried to cover up his crime by cleaning his apartment and disposing of his victim's body.
Fox's Jonathan Savage. President Trump has several White House meetings today after returning overnight from the NATO summit in Turkey, while the U.S. military hit Iranian targets for a second night. Iran retaliating again by targeting U.S. force sites around the region. A U.S. official says drones and missiles were intercepted by the U.S. and its partners. America is listening to Fox News.
WJR Traffic and Weather First.
Sponsored by NECA, IBEW Local 58. Count on the Powering Michigan team of IBEW 58 skilled electricians and NECA signatory contractors for your next commercial, industrial, public, or residential construction project. The best electricians, the best electrical contractors, period. Learn more at poweringmichigansfuture.com. We still have that accident on the Davison Freeway westbound at the Lodge. That's blocking your right lane. Another wreck on I-94 westbound after I-275. And construction blocks your right lane on I-94 eastbound between I-275 and Greenfield Road. It's going to be that way until July 11th. Now, WJR Weather First from the Weather Channel. Mostly cloudy this afternoon. A stray shower or thunderstorm still possible. We'll get up to 87. Right now it's 86 degrees. Scattered thunderstorms for this evening. Cloudy skies after midnight. A low of 70. Cloudy for Friday with showers in the afternoon. A high of 82 for tomorrow. I'm Rich Luzensky, WJR Traffic and Weather First.
It's Ryan Armani. Are you in pain right now? I'm talking about the severe and chronic kind that stops you from enjoying your life. I've been there too, and that's why I want to tell you about the amazing pain elimination treatment I use only at the Nerve and Disc Laser Institute. It's FDA cleared and 100% safe. The highest dose, highest intensity lasers in Michigan. The best part, there's no injections, pain meds, downtime, side effects, or surgery. Great for people suffering from arthritis, sciatica, neuropathy, or other ailments. Laser treatments get rid of the pain, they reduce inflammation, and regenerate tissues by targeting the root cause of the pain. It's located in Farmington and Clinton Township. You can call 248-326-2030. That's 248-326-2030. Mention my name this month, and you're going to get 50% off your treatment plan. The Nerve and Disc Laser Institute. Call now.
When you've got real work to do, Metal Supermarkets will help you get it done fast. With a huge variety of metals in stock, we can help no matter what job comes your way. And all it takes is a few clicks. We make buying metal online easy so you can spend less time shopping and more time getting things done. Metal Supermarkets, the convenience stores for metal. Place an order online today at metalsupermarkets.com.
Sound familiar? At Mattress Firm, we understand there are many problems that can keep you up at night, like snoring, aches and pains, or sleeping hot. Our sleep experts have the unrivaled know-how to match you with a mattress that can help. And now at Mattress Firm, save up to $700, plus get a free adjustable base with select Sealy Posturepedic mattresses. For the great sleep you deserve, visit Mattress Firm. We make sleep easy. Restrictions apply. See store or website for details. This is JR Afternoon on 760 WJR with guest host Marie Osborne.
Welcome in, everybody. Thursday afternoon. It's a warm one, that's for sure. Glad you're joining us this afternoon as we plod through another close to the weekend, right? Lots of folks like to call this Friday Eve, and indeed that is what it is. And hopefully you're having a good week and a good end to your week. And maybe you're coming back from vacation and getting back into the swing of things, just like I did earlier this week. We're happy you could join us here on the radio. Of course, we always love having you on the radio with us right here on WJR. But we want to remind you, you can always get all of our interviews. Everything that we do here at WJR is posted on our website. That's WJR.com. I know a lot of times you hear an interview. I happen to just hear the tail end of Paul W. Smith's interview with Chad Livengood on the Ambassador Bridge and the Gordie Howe Bridge controversy. And I didn't get the whole thing. I'm going to be listening to that when I go home on my device because I wanted to hear what Chad had to say about it and the delay in opening the bridge. But you can do that too, WJR.com. We have everything podcasted right there for you. And of course, we're always streaming live. We stream the show live on YouTube at 760 WJR. You can subscribe, of course. We urge you to do that. And it's free. So it doesn't cost you anything. And plus, you get to see us. You get to see the magic that happens here at WJR, especially when Ryan Armani is on board and joining us in the afternoon hours. He'll be back on Monday, of course. Also, we're going to do some call-in today. A little bit later in the show, we're going to talk about the debate last night that happened with the gubernatorial candidates. It was very interesting. I'm sorry that they weren't able to televise the whole thing and that they went to a streaming service after a half hour. I really wish they had kept the whole thing just in one spot for the whole thing. But we're going to talk about it. Hopefully you saw it or heard excerpts of it. We'll be playing some of that here, and we'll also have some analysis of it. But we're going to be opening the phone lines coming up at 3:48. We're going to want to talk to you about it and see, did this help sway your vote in any way? Did you see something that piqued your interest with one of these candidates? Perry Johnson, of course, John James, and Mike Cox, the Republicans, vying for the Republican nomination here in the primary coming up on August 4th. So one of those people will go on to the general election coming in November. What did you think of the debate? We're going to want to hear about that, but we're going to get some analysis on that first. Coming up in this hour of the show, we're going to be talking to Jason Roe, a principal at Roe Strategic, to talk a little bit about his thoughts on what he saw last night. Lots happening, of course, in the world of news around. The hearing continues in Utah. It's day 4 of the preliminary examination in Utah to decide whether there's enough evidence to try Tyler Robinson. He is the suspect accused of killing Charlie Kirk. During the hearing, Judge Tony Graff ruled that certain sections of a video interview of Robinson's roommate, that is Lance Twiggs, could not be played in court, could not be released to the public. Here's what he had to say.
This portion shall not be transmitted into the courtroom because of certain statements made in there that do not serve the interests of justice for publication.
Attorneys for Kirk's widow, Erica, advocated for the full release of Twiggs' interview, while the defense argued it could taint a potential jury pool. The family of Charlie Kirk was in attendance for the hearing. He was shot and killed last September during a campus event at Utah Valley University. We're going to talk more about this with Todd Flood coming up. The needs of the family, the wants of the family, they ultimately are the ones who need justice in this case. They are the ones who need justice here for the memory of their family member. But how much does that sway a judge when you compare that to trying to give someone a fair trial? So whether this person is convicted or not, that is the just outcome for the trial. So how do you weigh those two things at the same time? And what's in the best interest, first of all, of justice, period, of the defendant that's charged, but also this family that is seeking justice and frankly deserves justice. We're going to be talking to Todd Flood about that coming up. Central Command confirming today the U.S. military has resumed strike on Iran following threats to the ships in the Strait of Hormuz. President Trump denies this will lead to a full-scale conflict and risk negotiations. He told reporters on board Air Force One, America still holds all the cards.
We've already won militarily. They have very little left, and they want to make a deal so badly. They called a little while ago. They want to make a deal so badly. I just don't know if they're worthy of making a deal. I don't know that they're going to honor the deal. That's the problem. President
Trump called the negotiations, quote, a waste of time. Iran retaliated with strikes on U.S. military bases in Bahrain and Kuwait, but CENTCOM hasn't confirmed the extent of the damage there. Also, one other interesting piece of information about Air Force One. President Trump unexpectedly took off from the NATO summit in Ankara, Turkey today on board the older traditional Air Force One aircraft, sidelining the new Qatari gifted jet that had transported him to the summit. On board that aircraft, the president deflected questions regarding this big switch and potential security threats, telling reporters he is, quote, number one on the kill list for Iran, though he later denied any specific threats that prompted the change. Here's what he had to say.
They asked you to close your windows, probably they feel that way. They didn't ask me to close mine, but if they did, I would have done it. No, these are sick people, so I could see something like that. I didn't know they did that. I'm number one on their list before you. But if I go, you go, right?
But was there a specific
so perhaps someday you want to change professions.
So the president later boarded the new red, white, and blue Boeing 747 in the UK, and he stated he wanted the aircraft to stop at major U.S. bases in Europe so that service members could tour the new jet. Not sure if that's going to happen or if it would ever happen. This pivot, though, comes about in heightened tensions following the collapse of the U.S. and Iran ceasefire and the president's vocal frustration over NATO allies' refusal to join the ongoing military operations in the region. So this plane switch prompted a lot of concern from a lot of people, and they were wondering why that had to happen. But apparently there was some kind of security issue. No one's really saying a whole lot about that. But the plane was switched and then it was switched back. He went back to the new jet, the Qatari gifted jet that transported him to the summit, eventually did take him home from Great Britain. All right, we've got a great show for you planned. Like I said, coming up next, we're going to talk to Todd Flood a little bit about the preliminary examination going on in Utah and the Charlie Kirk case. How much sway does a family have over the legal proceedings when someone's going to be charged with the murder, and the interest of justice for everyone in this case. So please stay with us. Todd Flood's coming up next. We've got so much more coming up in the show this afternoon. And right alongside, as always, we have our producer, Beth Ann Long, and Danielle Mason is at the board today, keeping us on track. Stay with us. We'll be right back on JR Afternoon.
Stop your grinding with Brooks Night Guard. Are you waking up in the morning with a sore jaw, headaches, ringing in your ears, all because you're grinding and clenching your teeth at night? That's exactly what was going on with me. I ended up going to a dentist, and he wants to charge over $600 for a night guard. That's when I found the Brooks Night Guard. You mold it at home to the top or bottom teeth. Other mouth guards go all the way to the back, which allows the back teeth to touch. This is where most of the grinding and clenching occurs. The Brooks Night Guard redirects the bite force away from the back teeth, reducing jaw pain while still protecting the teeth. This unique design is what makes Brooks Night Guard different from all other traditional grind guards. Order your Brooks Night Guard today and get 10% off plus free shipping. Go to brooksnightguard.com and enter the code Brooks91. That's BRUX91.
Stop your grinding with Brooks Night Guard.
Our factories used to be filled with the people, the industry that made Michigan work. But politicians like John James, whose company outsourced Michigan jobs and made a fortune partnering with the communist Chinese government, sold Michigan out. That's why we need Mike Cox as governor. The son of working-class parents, Mike Cox will bring jobs back to Michigan and always put Michigan first. Mike Cox for governor. Paid for by Mike Cox 2026.
Brought to you by the Capital One Saver Card. Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining, entertainment, and at grocery stores. Going out, staying in, either way, you're earning cash back with Saver. Capital One, what's in your wallet? Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Your child's education is the foundation for tomorrow's leaders. Listen every Sunday at 3 p.m. for School Talks, hosted by respected educator Dr. Robert Livernoy. It's a conversation on all things education, from parents and students to educators and policymakers. School Talks is dedicated to in-depth discussions and analysis with experts on a wide range of topics in education. Sponsored by Wakely Associates Architects. The highest performing school facilities start with premier architectural design. Wakely Associates Architects, trusted since 1951.
Are you ready to experience the sights and sounds of Scotland right here in Michigan? The St. Andrews Society of Detroit invites you to North America's longest continuously running Highland Games. The historic weekend kicks off Friday, July 31st at 5 p.m. with the K-Lee, an adults-only night under the big tent featuring 6 incredible Celtic bands, dancing, and great refreshments. Then grab the whole family on Saturday, August 1st, starting at 8 a.m. for the 177th Annual Highland Games at Greenmead Historical Park in Livonia. Witness epic heavy athletics like the famous caber toss, hear the powerful massed pipe bands, and watch world-class Highland dancers compete. There's amazing food, unique Celtic vendors, and the Wee Bairns children's area for the little ones. Best of all, your attendance supports Michigan's oldest benevolent organization in giving back to the community. Don't miss out. Get your tickets and full schedule today at highlandgames.com.
WJR Traffic and Weather First.
This report is sponsored by Pro-Life Across America.
Hi, I'm Angie. Did you know a billboard can save a baby's life? It's true. You can make a difference by helping us spread the pro-life message to reach those who are struggling with an unplanned pregnancy. Please make a gift today. Visit prolifeacrossamerica.org.
We've got an accident blocking your right shoulder on I-75 northbound after I-94. Construction blocking your 2 right lanes on I-275 southbound at I-75. It's going to be that way until 9 this evening. And that wreck on the Davison westbound at the Lodge has cleared. Now, WJR Weather First from the Weather Channel, sponsored by Skyworks Equipment Rental. Big summer projects start with the right equipment. Whether you're a homeowner tackling a weekend job or a contractor managing a major project, Skyworks Equipment Rental has the lifts, loaders, excavators, and tools you need. Rent today or reserve ahead of time at skyworks-reliablerentals.com. Mostly cloudy for the afternoon. We might get a stray shower or thunderstorm. We'll let you know if those turn severe. A high of 87. Right now it's 86 degrees. Scattered thunderstorms for this evening. Cloudy skies after midnight. A low of 70. Cloudy for Friday with showers in the afternoon. A high of 82 for tomorrow. I'm Rich Luzensky, WJR Traffic and Weather First.
Friday on JR Morning, we'll get the latest on the Iran conflict, find out about a new public plaza where you can enjoy the city, and hear from at least one gubernatorial candidate. All from 6 to 9 a.m. here on WJR, WJR.com, and the always free WJR app.
The widow of slain activist Charlie Kirk is asking a Utah judge to make all courtroom exhibits publicly viewable during a preliminary hearing for the man accused of killing her husband. The widow and the parents say they are prevented from viewing evidence during the accused assassin's preliminary hearing. And they argue in a new court filing that the victims have a legal right. We knew just the person to ask about this. Todd Flood, attorney and managing partner at Flood Law, joins us to talk a little bit about this case. Hi, Todd.
Hey, hi, Marie.
Hi. You know, this is always interesting to me. These kinds of cases where, or this kind of legal proceeding where you're weighing the accused person's right to a fair trial against the pursuit by the family, the victim's family and the victims for justice and for transparency. This judge is kind of having to weigh this, isn't he?
He is, but he's, I think it's very prudent to be cautionary. This is not a trial. This is just in the state of Michigan, we would call this the preliminary exam.
Right.
And we want to get it bound over to trial. We wouldn't want to taint a jury and then have the case reversed in the Court of Appeals because we tainted the jury pool, right? So if we had a film of a horrific murder and we wanted to show it to the judge to get the case bound over, the judge, the prosecutor, the government would say, hey, judge, probably best that you watch this in chambers. And that just happened here in Detroit or in Oakland County in a preliminary exam where the judge watched the video in chambers, not to taint a jury pool. Makes sense. So, another thing that makes sense to me, not all evidence. So you get up on the stand, Marie, and I ask you, hey, did Did you see Johnny run the red light? No, I didn't see him run the red light. Well, I want to ask you a question. Do you remember saying that you did see him? No, I don't remember that. Well, I'm going to hand you a document. The document happens to be your witness statement or a police report. Review that, look at that, tell me if that helps you refresh your recollection. Yes, it does. I saw Johnny run the red light. Well, that's not evidence, the piece of paper. That was just a document to help you refresh your memory. What you say on the stand is evidence. So I think the judge has to balance. This is a preliminary exam, not the trial. I don't want to screw it up. I'd rather measure, twice and cut once. I don't want to screw it up that I would get this case reversed on appeal because I tainted a jury pool. That's, the simple part of it.
Yeah, and everybody, though, has so much sympathy, obviously, for the widow in this case and for the parents.
Exactly. What she is resting her, her argument on, which is a good argument, and we have it here in the state of Michigan. We have a constitutional right in the state of Michigan, as they do in Utah, for a victim's rights. Victims' rights have a say in the prosecution. They have a say in the proceeding of the prosecution. That's what we have in our constitution, in our state constitution, same in Utah. But that doesn't dictate that you're the final arbiter, or you make the decisions. The people are represented by the prosecutor. In this particular case, it's the Attorney General's office. In the counties, it's the county prosecutor. So they represent the people. They have to make the decisions. It just means you have a right to be there. And also, this is another thing. It's open to the public. The cameras are there. You're seeing everything. Certain things that would taint a jury pool later on. I'm a conservative on that standpoint because I wouldn't want to retry this case. I wouldn't want to do it twice. I'd only want to do it once.
Right, and especially right here at the start. I mean, you're not even in trial. This is a preliminary hearing, so you certainly wouldn't want it to start here. What do you think this evidence is that she wants to have released? Do you know?
It's probably photographs. It might be some recordings. There's other things too. Like, for example, we have in the state of Michigan, we have what is called an investigative subpoena, where we take testimony under oath. There's no defense attorney present at the time necessarily, and it's used. Certain things like that might be you're not going to be able to. We here in the state of Michigan, we can't even say the word investigative subpoena. We'd have to say in a criminal exam, prosecution or the defense would have to say, you testified before. Do you remember that? And then I put the testimony in, but that's not open to the public. It's not displayed on an Elmo or a screen or on the TV screens. That's in front of the witness. They also had a complaint about some of the evidence seems to be just going to the witness and then to the judge. So I, as a prosecutor, I'm not going to first, give it to the witness and then display it to every, civilian in the courtroom. I got to do my job. My job is to get this thing bound over to the trial and to have a judge look at it. So it's not like, I'm Vanna White up on the stage giving you the letter. I got to do my job. I got to present it to the court, and I got to do it in a professional manner. That's probably what's going on here with some of this stuff.
Point of education for all of our listeners. Will this judge who's hearing this preliminary hearing also be the one to hear the trial?
No, so it goes to a trial judge. That's our understanding. Same in Michigan.
Right.
So, it goes to the circuit court, goes to a next court. This is going to be the probable cause hearing for which, it's here in the district court.
Yeah. Is there enough evidence? I also wondered if this evidence that the family wants released, maybe in some way was sensational, that it would, because, obviously there's some sensationalism completely in this case, but I wondered if there was something that was sensational that they wanted released that could possibly, taint the jury here.
Right. I would imagine so. It seems to me that there's two parts to this. She wants it because all the cameras are in the courtroom. I got to believe that might be one motive. You would suspect or possibly think that. And to see the sensationalism of this man killed my husband. And you got to feel for her. you got to understand that, we don't walk through her shoes and the anger she has and how she wants to eviscerate this to show what this man took from us. That is the shoes that pinch for her. So it's hard for us to necessarily have empathy because we don't know what those shoes pinch like. But I would imagine some of this stuff is probably sensational, probably graphic, probably even, to the extent that it really shocks the conscience. And, that I would imagine, of course, she wants to make that public because she's got anger and wants to show that this is, this man took my husband's life, took a part of me. And you can feel that, sympathize with that kind of thought process. So if she's a victim, she lost her love of her life. So I can understand where she comes from for that.
Also, she said that she wanted to tamp down conspiracy theories. And this case is rife with conspiracy theories already. So you can imagine if there's any shade of, we're going to hold this back by the trial judge or by anybody else, that this is just, people are going to run wild with that.
Right. I mean, the conspiracy theory is take a look at the shot. This is a young kid. It's over, 200 yards or so. Conspiracy theories are that he couldn't have done this, yada, yada, yada. Maybe, but again, that's not what we do in a courtroom. Our courtroom is not to be of course it's public. Of course people get to see it. But this is the infancy stage. Make it akin to almost a grand jury. No one gets to go in front of see the grand jury proceedings. No one gets to see that. It stays, behind closed doors. So I struggle with this. As a prosecutor, I want to do my job for the people of Utah, for the people of the state of Michigan. As a prosecutor, I want to get the case bound over so I can try it. And I understand that there is probably some, sentiment to make sure that I try my case in the preliminary exam stage and, it's slammed shut, but they just can't.
Todd Flood, attorney, managing partner, Flood Law. Always great to have you on board. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. Have a great day.
You too, and we'll be back here on JR Afternoon.
Hey there, JR listeners. Chris Alberta from Principium. Look, I have an urgent message for you today about your retirement. I don't care if you already retired, you're a few months away, or you're a few years away. You're going to be unemployed soon. And you probably don't have a pension because you are your pension. Recent all-time highs in the market. Look, you're at the top of the mountain. And now we're in an Iranian conflict. AI might replace your job. And like it or not, you could be retired as long as you were working. But despite all that, it's the best time I have ever seen in my career to build you a retirement plan. The fixed rates are unbelievably good. Income models are killing it. You combine that with top-notch market management, and you're going to win. If you wait, you will lose. These rates will go down. You remember the 4% rule? My clients are using the 7% rule. They'll always have a paycheck, and that's freedom. Don't wait. Call me now, 888-800-8949. Call me, Chris Alberta, 888-800-8949.
Progressive knows that boat days can come with unexpected problems.
It's been a tough Saturday on the lake. I ordered swim trunks in this orange cream color, but it's actually more orange auburn. Oh, and it's swimwear. I probably can't even return these.
If a real problem comes along, your boat's protected 24/7 with Progressive, so you can keep worrying about boater problems. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates, not available in D.C.
There he is, Mr. Big Time Capital One Bank guy.
Mom, please.
Well, look at this Capital One Cafe. I just might move in.
Or just drop by. Capital One cafes are open 7 days a week.
I could put my spoon collection right here by the ATM, yes.
Wow, you weren't kidding, Mom.
I never kid about the spoon collection, son. Oh, hey, what's that thing you always say?
There's no fees or minimums on Capital One checking accounts.
No, the other one.
What's in your wallet?
Oh, that's my boy.
Terms apply. Visit CapitalOne.com/bankguy for details. Capital One and a member FDIC.
Connect direct with the WJR app.
News, I'm John Saucier. The United States launching another series of strikes against Iran last night after Iranian forces attacked commercial shipping in the Strait of Hormuz. Republican New York Congressman Mike Lawler on Fox Business says he wouldn't be opposed to taking further action against Iran.
Fundamentally, from my vantage point, keeping the pressure on them both militarily and economically is what is going to ultimately force resolution here. And ensure that they are no longer a threat.
Former Olympic canoeist David Hearn pleading not guilty to charges that he vandalized the Lincoln Memorial Reflecting Pool. Executive Chair of the Democracy Defenders Fund, Norman Eisen, serving as Hearn's co-counsel.
If Mr. Hearn can be charged with a felony for touching the reflecting pool, every American is at risk.
America is listening to Fox News.
WJR traffic and weather first.
Still have that accident blocking your right shoulder on I-75 northbound after I-94. That wreck on I-94 westbound after I-275 is cleared. Same goes for that wreck on the Davison westbound at the Lodge. Construction still slowing you down on US 23 northbound between Barker Road and Lee Road. You're slow from 6 Mile. That's scheduled to wrap up by 3 p.m. Friday. And more road work on I-275 northbound between Sibley Road and Eureka Road. That should be done by 4 this afternoon. Now, WJR weather first from the Weather Center. It's going to be cloudy, mostly cloudy for the remainder of the afternoon. A strange shower or thunderstorm still possible. We'll get up to 87. Scattered thunderstorms for the evening could be severe. Cloudy skies after midnight, a low of 70. More clouds for Friday with showers in the afternoon, a high of 82. I'm Rich Luzensky, WJR traffic and weather first.
Hey, it's Ryan Armani. I want to get real with you for a minute about a 4-letter word we can all relate to: pain. If you're in severe or chronic pain right now due to arthritis, sciatica, neuropathy, or honestly, just about any other ailment, you need to check out an amazing pain elimination laser treatment at the Nerve and Disc Laser Institute, located in Farmington and Clinton Township. It's FDA cleared, totally safe, and their lasers are the highest dose, highest intensity lasers in Michigan. These laser treatments get rid of the pain. They reduce inflammation and regenerate tissue by targeting the root cause of the pain. And the best part, your pain goes away without drugs, injections, side effects, downtime, or everyone's biggest fear, surgery. So grab your phone and call 248-326-2030. That's 248-326-2030. 2030. Mention my name this month. You're going to get half off your treatment plan, 50% off your treatment plan. That's huge. The Nerve and Disc Laser Institute, 248-326-2030. Call now.
And the match is about to begin.
Most of the team is out with COVID-19, so there'll be some substitutes tonight.
What's this? We have an unexpected guest on the field.
It's a dog. Well, they could do with extra players.
She's going for the ball.
Our front paws, hands or feet?
Soccer season is full of surprises, and COVID-19 could be one of them. If you test positive, prescription medications may help. Ask your doctor if they're right for you. Learn more at PfizerForAll.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Lots of places can expose you to identity theft.
Oh, no.
That's why LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats to your identity, which is way more than anyone can do on their own. If we find anything suspicious, like new loans or changes to your financial accounts, we alert you right away, all through text, phone, email, or the LifeLock app. Get the alerts that could make all the difference. Save up to 30% with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Catch Jamie's journey. Jamie Edmonds and friends bring you stories of triumph over adversity.
Now I want to bring in Wendy Henning, clinical oncology social worker. You gave me a little takeaway about worry, but I don't think the worry is serving me.
If you have checked off all of those lists and it's not serving you in any way, it's not helping move you forward, acknowledging your worry, understanding and recognizing that it's normal, try and let it go. And you might have to do that every hour.
Jamie's Journey, Thursday nights at 8 on 760 WJR.
We'll make it through.
Stream at WJR.com or wherever you get your podcasts. This is JR Afternoon on 760 WJR with guest host Marie Osborne.
Michigan's Republican candidates for governor traded sharp attacks during a televised debate last night. Former Attorney General Mike Cox, businessman Perry Johnson repeatedly targeting Congressman John James, who dismissed much of the criticism as, quote, BS. Despite the clashes, all three candidates voiced supports for eliminating Michigan's income tax and tightening immigration policies. Joining us to talk a little bit about last night's debate and getting some additional thoughts on what they saw, Jason Roe, principal of Roe Strategic. Hi, Jason. Glad you could talk with us today.
Hey, Marie. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. So I watched this debate. It seemed very much to me, maybe, and I'd like to hear your thoughts, that this was Mike Cox and Perry Johnson on John James, because of course John James carries President Trump's endorsement in this particular race. But I felt very much like those two were pretty much at him as opposed to each other.
Yeah, I don't think there were any surprises in the approach of any of the three candidates. I think Congressman James stated right up front that he's going to be the target of the attacks. And that's what happens when you're in a multi-candidate race, and we're 4 weeks from the primary. And John James, in most polls, has a commanding lead. And the only way that those other candidates can increase their vote share is by knocking him down a little bit. And so it was, I think, again, not a surprise, anticipated. I thought he did a pretty good job by and large. I think towards the end, he got a little chippy as well. But I think, how he handled the first, half of the debate, he looked more gubernatorial. I thought that Mike Cox came across much more pugnacious than any of the three candidates, but that's been kind of a hallmark of his campaign. I think that's his style. But yeah, he came in ready to fight, and I thought, fought pretty consistently throughout, probably more than he needed to. I think he probably could have toned it down just a little bit, or at least waited and not come out of the gate swinging as he did, because it did kind of accelerate this turning into a bickering session and kind of got annoying in the latter parts of the campaign. Or of the debate.
I thought, I loved the word pugnacious. That's such a great way to sum up Mike Cox. I agree with you there. I think that's very true. I think Perry Johnson came across, I think he had a lot of appeal to every man. To the quote, the every man that I'm talking about. To me, he seemed to come across as appealing to that sort of voter.
Well, I think among the three, he was the one that had the most message discipline. And part of that is just the reality that he's a political outsider. I mean, Mike Cox has been in public life a very long time, as has John James. These are experienced politicians that have worked in government. And so they know the parlance of government and campaigning a lot better than Perry Johnson, who's, been an outsider politically and is a business guy. So, I think and it's a safe play, is stay on message, keep hammering your messages, which he did, I think, pretty consistently throughout that. And listen, his message, what he's selling is appealing to Republican primary voters. I mean, there's a lot of support out there for eliminating the state income tax. And he's absolutely right in talking about those states around the country. And there's a lot more of them than people realize. It's not just tourism states like Florida. There's a lot of other states that you don't think of as tourism states that have eliminated their state income tax. That's an appealing message. And I know a lot of people that might not be in love with Perry Johnson, but they are in love with the idea of eliminating the income tax. So I think his message is a good one. And I thought he hammered it pretty consistently throughout the debate last night.
I thought all three they all supported that, eliminating the income tax, although nobody really gave some substantive answer as to how the budget would be balanced, without an income tax. Nobody really addressed that specifically. So that was a question that I think remained out there. I thought John James, I thought he could have been stronger, in just my opinion. I thought he could have been stronger. I was a little concerned at the very beginning when he kept saying, so-and-so invoked my name, so I get 30 seconds more. Like he wasted 3 minutes talking about how he needed 30 seconds more. So, that kind of set me off a little bit. Like, it was, to me, it was a little just off-putting a little bit, I guess.
Yeah, I think particularly when it comes to someone running for governor, I think voters even subconsciously, have an expectation of what a governor looks like and how they behave as compared to a legislator, so a member of Congress, a senator. You are the chief executive, and I think you should project that. And I think when you react and respond to the attacks that are coming in, I think it takes away from you looking like that kind of executive leader. I think you would have been better off brushing that off, ignoring it, and focusing on his message, because all he ended up doing is dragging him into that scrum. And I think that was probably part of Mike Cox's goal, was to drag him into that scrum and tear him down a little bit. And, the reality is that John has been at the federal level in government, not at the state level, and Mike probably has a better command of state public policy, where John has a better command of federal public policy. But I take your point. I agree with it.
Yeah.
I think he would have looked a lot stronger by ignoring them and just continuing to talk about his agenda for the state.
We talked about this the other day, too, here on the show, talking about the previous debate with the Senate candidates, the Democratic Senate candidates. What impact do you think this is going to have overall on the primary, this particular debate? Do you think people watched? Do you think they cared?
Unfortunately, I don't think enough people watch these to get better informed. And I don't think there was a lot in the way of takeaways, at least from this debate. I think, and I didn't get a chance to watch the Democratic Senate primary debate all the way through. I've seen clips and I've read analysis of it. My takeaway is that Haley Stevens getting on offense for the first time with El-Sayed, which is easier to do when it's a two-person race than when it's a three-person race, probably helped her. But, he's a singularly talented retail politician. I think of anyone running in the state, he probably has the most natural campaigning gifts, and he's good on his feet, and he's a smart man. Now, his politics are, ludicrous. And I think, Haley Stevens appeared to have started to make a dent in that. But when I look at some of the analysis of McMorrow dropping out, I think it's a misread to think that McMorrow's support transfers over to Haley just because they're, two white women from Oakland County. Those in Lansing recognize Mallory McMorrow as one of the far left progressive members of the state legislature in either chamber. I mean, she is not by any means a moderate, not to say Haley's particularly moderate, but compared to Abdul El-Sayed, she certainly is. And so I think most of Mallory McMorrow's support probably goes towards El-Sayed. I don't think the polls that we've seen in the couple days since McMorrow dropped out are going to give us kind of real understanding of where the field is right now. But I think this is probably going to tighten up, but I think El-Sayed is still going to be the one that prevails because he's got all the energy.
He really is, as you said, a gifted politician. We'll see where it shakes out. Jason Roe, principal of Roe Strategic. Again, thank you for your insights today. And we will be opening up the lines a little bit later in the show at 3:48. Talk a little bit about your thoughts of the debate. Did you watch? Was it important to you? We'll be opening up the phone line. Stay with us. We continue here on JR Afternoon.
Hi, this is Paul W. Smith. I've talked to you about Dr. Saul Kogan at the Nerve and Disc Institute for years about how his non-invasive, non-surgical intradisc neutrosis treatment stimulates the body's natural healing process and has helped thousands of people reduce and end their chronic back and neck pain without drugs, shots, or downtime. This new Google review says it better than anyone. Quote, "It's a year now. My spinal stenosis, herniated disc, and sciatica pain have been relieved. I'm not taking any drugs anymore and no surgery. What a huge difference. I'm 99% pain-free." End of quote. Wow. Plus, Dr. Kogan's gentle, non-surgical knee restore RX treatment helps get rid of severe knee pain from osteoarthritis and meniscus tears. Mention WJR in June and get a consultation, exam, X-ray or MRI review, and laser treatment for only $49 on your first visit. The Nerve and Disc Institute in Farmington, Clinton Township, Grand Blanc, and Bad Axe. Call 586-416-DISC.
Point. Hey, you okay? You don't normally miss those shots.
I just haven't been as regular lately, and it's making me feel sluggish.
You should try Metamucil. It's been a game changer for me. Metamucil's plant-based psyllium fiber helps trap and remove the waste that weighs you down. Ace, you're moving better than you were last week.
Definitely.
Metamucil keeps you moving. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Learn more at metamucil.com.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ethos.com/term. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Your weekends just got better at the Village of Rochester Hills. Pack your blankets and head to Festival Park for our free summer concert series every Friday and Saturday evening, featuring everything from rock to country. Find the full entertainment schedule today at thevorh.com.
Now WJR Health Watch. Here's Lloyd Jackson.
Hernia surgery has advanced dramatically, from large incisions to tiny cuts and high-tech tools. Dr. Marian Franco, general surgeon at Henry Ford West Bloomfield Hospital, explains how repairs are done today and what new technology means for patients.
Traditional open surgery, a larger incision is the most tried and true method for hernia, or in all surgeries. Of course, with advancement of technology and research, we are now moving into the minimally invasive surgical world with laparoscopy and the now robot.
Dr. Franco says today the hernia repair is often reinforced with mesh for added strength and long-term durability.
The way I like to describe it to patients is the tissue in your body has already proven to be weak. It spontaneously broke open. So it doesn't make sense to sew weak tissue to weak tissue. One heavy lift or cough or an event like that, the tissue will break open again. So the concept that we all embrace in hernia repair is a tension-free repair. So mesh provides us with that.
Dr. Franco says the robotic platform has revolutionized hernia repair. She even did something different in repairing my ventral hernia.
For your surgery, I was able to do something that I would not be able to do easily with the laparoscope. I was able to sandwich your piece of mesh in between layers of your abdominal wall. And your surgery, I think, was less than an hour. And then, you're back to work.
Dr. Franco says next generation robotics and smarter mesh will make future hernia repairs even safer and stronger. I'm Lloyd Jackson with WJR Health Watch.
WJR Traffic and Weather First.
This report is sponsored by ExpressPros.com. Your logistics business moves fast. Is your team keeping up? Express Employment Professionals connects you with qualified talent fast. Express helps you hire smarter and stay productive. Visit ExpressPros.com for an office. Express Employment Professionals, respecting people, impacting business.
We've got an accident blocking your left lane on I-94 westbound between Race Road and Sargent Road. Construction still slowing you down on I-275 northbound between Sibley Road and Eureka. That's scheduled to wrap up by 4 this afternoon. I-275 southbound at I-75. We still have that construction project there blocking your 2 right lanes. And steer clear of a wreck on I-75 northbound after I-94. That's on your right shoulder. Now, WJR Weather First from the Weather Channel. Looking kind of cloudy here. I see a couple of raindrops. Stray shower thunderstorms still possible. A high of 87. Scattered thunderstorms for this evening. Cloudy skies after midnight will drop down to 70. More clouds for Friday morning, then showers in the afternoon. A high of 82 for tomorrow. I'm Rich Luzensky, WJR Traffic and Weather First.
Call us or text us. The number's the same. 1-800-859-0957. 1-800-859-WJR. Powered by Michigan Auto Law. Auto Accident Attorneys. Visit Autolaw.com. That's Autolaw.com.
And we are back. A new Gallup survey finds the use of popular GLP-1 weight loss medications has surged across the United States. 11% of adults say they're currently taking drugs like Wegovy, Ozempic, Zepbound, Mounjaro for weight loss. That's up from 3% in 2024. So 2 years ago, just 3%, and now it is 11%. At the same time, the nation's obesity rate has declined from nearly 40% in 2022 to 36.4% this year. Certainly that is good news. And even food manufacturers are talking about how the snack foods are not flying off the shelves like they used to. So this is impacting our culture in so many ways. But the fact that so many people are taking it is kind of a stunning number. Dr. Farah Hafiz, a primary care physician and director of the Henry Ford Macomb Weight Management Program, is joining us to talk about this. Hi, Dr. Hafiz. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
So, were you surprised by this 11% number, or are you seeing that in your practice?
Well, I'm a primary care physician and I also work in obesity medicine. And so I see a huge influx in my primary care patients coming in wanting weight loss medications. And then again, being the director of the weight management program, we are seeing patients strictly for the weight issue. And so this is no surprise to me. This is an up and coming field, and there's so much knowledge and there's so much out there, and we're so excited to give this to our population and help them have better quality of life.
You use the word excited, and I want to go just pivot off of that for a second. I know so many physicians who've said to me, like privately from the heart, that they say, finally, I'm able to give patients who need to lose weight something real to hang on to. Do you feel that way too?
Absolutely. So we're seeing dramatic weight loss efficacy. Back in the day when we had some obesity medications, they would give us, approximately about 5 to 10% weight loss. But the weight loss efficacy that we are seeing with these newer medications, up to 20%, and some of the newer drugs, even 25%. I mean, imagine that quality of life for that patient significantly changing, right? So when we are treating patients' obesity, we're not just treating a number. We are treating that full patient. And guess what? Their patient's quality of life improves. They can play with their grandchildren. Their sleep apnea goes away. Their blood pressure gets better. And so you can see this whole total picture of that patient and their life improving. And that's what we see on a day-to-day basis. When I'm talking to my patients, they're telling me that it's not just about the number, it's their life and the quality of life that they want to live.
What about there's still people that I hear, and I've heard it here on the air here at this station, where people say, well, first of all, that's the easy way out. I've heard that. And I've also heard people say, well, what do we really know about it? All these people are being guinea pigs. Can you respond to that for a moment, please? Especially the guinea pig part. All these, we really don't know what the implications are on this 20 years down the road. Can you address that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, GLPs are not a new class of medication. We have been using these for years in our diabetic population. But in that population, we realized that guess what? It's not only helping lowering patients' A1C, but they're also losing weight. So now the indication for weight loss is brand new, but the medication itself is not. So we have used it long-term in our diabetic population. And now with that new indication for weight loss, as well as other indications, because these meds are not just for weight loss anymore, right? They're also for cardiovascular risk reduction, chronic kidney disease, obstructive sleep apnea, I mentioned before, fatty liver even. And so because their indication is so large now, you can imagine that we have more patients on it and we're doing so much in improving their quality of life. And so these are not brand new medications. These are medications that we've been using long term. And we have proven that they are safe and effective. And then, commenting on that comment of, this is the easy way out. It's funny because a patient told me that just the other day. They told me that one of their family members laughed at them and said, oh, you're taking the easy way out. And she told me the opposite. She's like, Dr. Hafiz, I have been working so hard. I have never worked this hard to lose this weight. And these medications do not work alone. They do not work. They are just a tool. You use it, but then you have to change your life, do the extensive lifestyle modifications, the diet, the exercise, the calorie counting. That's what gives us the weight loss, not the medication itself. The medication is just a tool. It will suppress the appetite. It will delay gastric emptying. But guess what? You're still putting in the work.
Yes, exactly. And I think you're right about that. It's funny that your patient had just said that to you. What are we looking at long term? I know people have lost weight on these drugs. And now we're getting, a few years out with this. So how they, I think everybody understands that you'll probably be on this for the rest of your life. But do they have to take it at the level that they're taking it maybe to lose weight? In other words, what's the maintenance side of all this?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So I think the first concept that we have to understand, and for your viewers to understand, is that obesity is a chronic disease. And if we view it like that, then we understand that it can be relapsing, it can be remitting. So just like we have diabetes or hypertension, once you're on let's say, hypertensive medication, the medication only works while you're on it, right? So if you stop that blood pressure medication, well, the blood pressure can go back up. Well, same thing with the obesity meds. And I say this to the patients so often. I'm like, the medication only works while you're on it. You cannot expect the medication to work a year from now when you're not on it, right? And so, yes, you should always continue with your lifestyle changes, but the medication has a place because it's delaying that gastric emptying. It's slowing down the appetite. The food hunger goes away. So now with the medication, you can make better choices. And so when it comes to maintenance, I always encourage our patients to get down to their goal weight and then figure out what does maintenance look like for that patient. That patient may say, I'm okay and I can afford, and my insurance is paying for this medication. I can stay on this dose and I have no side effects. Perfect. And other patients, they say, I don't want to lose any more weight. Well, maybe I will decrease the dose and cut it back a little bit. And so really that maintenance is different for every person.
And they'll need to discuss that with their doctor. I'm so sorry,
Absolutely.
Dr. Hafiz. We are out of time. You've been such a great interview. Thank you so much for joining us today. Dr. Farah Hafiz, primary care physician and director of the Henry Ford Macomb Weight Management Program. We'll have you back on again to talk about this because this is not going away. This is here to stay. I think you'll agree with me on that.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
And we'll continue here on JR Afternoon.
Hey, Chuck, John from Walker, Michigan, just heard the Inside Outside guys for the first time and had nothing but great things to say.
Well, that's because instead of going to a national site for a contractor, he went to InsideOutsideGuys.com.
If you live in the state of Michigan and you need a contractor you can trust, always go to the InsideOutsideGuys.com for contractors and housing information you can trust.
Is your home ready for an exterior upgrade? New siding and gutters can completely transform the look of your home while protecting it from Michigan's tough weather. Right now at Weather Seal Home Improvements, when you choose new siding or gutters, you'll receive a $500 gas card. That's a beautiful, durable upgrade for your home and money back in your pocket at the pump. Now that's a good deal. Trust the experts at Weather Seal Home Improvements. Schedule a free estimate today at weathersealhomeimprovements.net. That's weathersealhomeimprovements.net. Terms and conditions apply.
It's Ryan Armani. Are you in pain right now? I'm talking about the severe and chronic kind that stops you from enjoying your life. I've been there too, and that's why I want to tell you about the amazing pain elimination treatment I use only at the Nerve and Disc Laser Institute. It's FDA cleared and 100% safe. The highest dose, highest intensity lasers in Michigan. The best part, there's no injections, pain meds, downtime, side effects, or surgery. Great for people suffering from arthritis, sciatica, neuropathy, or other ailments. Laser treatments get rid of the pain, they reduce inflammation, and regenerate tissues by targeting the root cause of the pain. It's located in Farmington and Clinton Township. You can call 248-326-2030. That's 248-326-2030. Mention my name this month, and you're going to get 50% off your treatment plan. The Nerve and Disc Laser Institute. Call now.
WJR, Detroit.
It's Key evidence for the prosecution. On Lisa Brady, Fox News. Parts of a videotaped interview with the former roommate and romantic partner of Tyler Robinson have been played in a Utah courtroom where a judge will decide if there's enough evidence to send Robinson to trial for the killing of Charlie Kirk.
In the partially redacted video, Lance Twiggs says he and Tyler Robinson were in the same friend group and became roommates before dating. Twiggs said before the shooting, Robinson had told him he wanted to engrave bullets for a hunting trip and borrowed a tool from Twiggs in order to do that. But Twiggs testified that after the shooting,
I just asked him in person if what he said was true the night before, and he said it was. I started crying a little bit and said he wishes he hadn't done it.
he says Robinson would sometimes talk about politics, but that he'd never heard Robinson mention Charlie Kirk. After the judge watched the video, another investigator read from the text messages Robinson had sent Twiggs telling him about the shooting.
Fox's Jessica Rosenthal. It's day 4 of the preliminary hearing in the case. Robinson has not yet entered a plea. Just getting reports of multiple explosions in Iran. There's no confirmation yet about the source. Last night, the U.S. military conducting a second round of strikes on Iran over Iran's targeting of commercial ships. Iran has been responding with more strikes on Gulf neighbors that host U.S. forces. A disappointing reading on the U.S. housing market for June, with costs rising.
The National Association of Realtors says existing home sales declined last month, down 2.4%. Home prices rose to a record, and mortgage rates were higher. The U.S. median sales price rose in June to $440,600.
Fox's Jenny Cosola. Still, existing home sales for June were higher than a year ago. The average 30-year fixed-rate mortgage just shy of 6.5% in the Freddie Mac report. America is listening to Fox News.
WJR Traffic and Weather First.
We have an accident blocking your right lane on M14 eastbound at US 23 that's causing stop-and-go traffic from Main Street. M14 eastbound at Sheldon Road, another wreck there. You're slow from Beck Road. I-94 westbound between Race Road and Sargent Road. An accident taking up your 2 left lanes. You're slow from Mount Hope Road. Traffic is getting by on the right shoulder only. And we have some construction on US 23 northbound between Barker and Lee Road. You're slow from 6 Mile. That should wrap up 3 p.m. Friday. Now, WJR weather first from the Weather Channel. Mostly cloudy for the remainder of the afternoon. Stray shower thunderstorm is possible. Right now, it's raining in the Motor City. A high of 87 today. Scattered thunderstorms for the evening. Cloudy skies after midnight. A low of 70. More clouds for Friday morning, then showers in the afternoon. We'll get up to 82 for tomorrow. I'm Rich Luzensky, WJR Traffic and Weather First.
It's Ryan Armani. Are you in pain right now? I'm talking about the severe and chronic kind that stops you from enjoying your life. I've been there too, and that's why I want to tell you about the amazing pain elimination treatment I use only at the Nerve and Disc Laser Institute. It's FDA cleared and 100% safe. The highest dose, highest intensity lasers in Michigan. The best part, there's no injections, pain meds, downtime, side effects, or surgery. Great for people suffering from arthritis, sciatica, neuropathy, or other ailments. Laser treatments get rid of the pain, they reduce inflammation, and regenerate tissues by targeting the root cause of the pain. It's located in Farmington and Clinton Township. You can call 248-326-2030. That's 248-326-2030. Mention my name this month, and you're going to get 50% off your treatment plan. The Nerve and Disc Laser Institute. Call now.
Greg is a real Prevagen user, and this is his story.
Hi, I'm Greg. I'm not an actor. I'm just a regular person. 8 years ago, I just didn't feel like I was on my game. I started taking Prevagen, and I want people to know that Prevagen has worked for me. Give it a try. I want it to help you just like it has helped me.
Prevagen, at stores everywhere without a prescription. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Testimonialist was compensated for their time.
In the military, the mission was clear. You knew what to do. Now, the mission has changed. Stepping into civilian life isn't about finding a job. It's finding your purpose.
I wanted a career that would leverage the skills and discipline I gained in the military. IT just felt right.
My Computer Career offers class schedules that fit into your life and skills in high demand. Put your VA benefits to work. Visit mycomputercareer.edu/CWP to jumpstart your IT career today. An elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
This is JR Afternoon on 760 WJR with guest host Marie Osborne.
And welcome back on our Thursday afternoon that's gotten a whole lot darker in the last hour. Those storms are moving in for sure. Hasn't started to rain yet here in the downtown area, but we're expecting it pretty soon. You might be seeing rain in where you are. I'm Marie Osborne in for Ryan Armani, who has the week off, hopefully having some great vacation time with his family. I'm sure we'll hear all about it come next week when he returns. We want to remind you that we post all of our interviews at WJR.com. You can also join us live and see us live. We love our stream here that we have on YouTube at 760 WJR. Be sure to subscribe. You can do that for free. We like saying that. It's for free. And you can see us every day. So we love having you on board with us. Beth Ann Long, our producer today, Danielle Mason, making sure that we stay on track and the trains run on time. That's what Danielle does every single day. We covered a lot this last hour. We talked a little bit about the Charlie Kirk family at this preliminary hearing in Utah wanting to have all of the information released when it pertains to the person who has been accused of murdering Charlie Kirk. They want all that information released. The judge holding back some of it. Erica Kirk saying that she doesn't want anything to be misconstrued or any conspiracy theories to sprout from what has been held back. Todd Flood of Flood Law joining us to talk a little bit about that, how you balance a person's right to a fair trial and the family's right to justice, of course, the victim's rights to justice. And in this case, he said he would err on the side of caution like the judge did and hold back some of this information until it becomes relevant. He said, this is just the first part of this legal proceeding. You just need to get this you need to get this information and this evidence to trial, this person to trial. And that's what the purpose of this preliminary hearing is. So he agreed with the judge on that. We also talked about last night's debate, the gubernatorial debate between the three Republican candidates who are vying for the nomination in the primary that's coming up on August 4th. Perry Johnson, John James, Mike Cox. They had a lot to say. And we talked a little bit about who the winners and losers were. It was kind of a draw. Sadly, not a lot of people watch these debates, which is really kind of sad because you really do get a picture of who is going to be up and running for office here in the state of Michigan, the high office of governor coming up in the November election. We also talked about the GLP drugs that 11% of people are now taking GLP drugs to help them lose weight in this country. And that, in fact, obesity rates have dropped here in this country in the last 2 years. And Dr. Farah Hafiz, the primary care physician and director of the Henry Ford Macomb Weight Management Program, joined us to talk a little bit about that. And she said, yep, it is a miracle drug that is really doing a lot of good for her patients. Quick check of the number of cases of psychosporiasis, that it's now hit more than 1,200 in Michigan. Michigan is by far the state that's been hit the hardest with this outbreak. They've been the CDC is investigating several cluster cases in New York, Illinois, New York State, and Pennsylvania and Texas. They don't appear related to what's happening to us here in Michigan, which is kind of interesting. But they really don't have any idea where this outbreak started or how to prevent it, other than telling people, make sure you wash your fruits and vegetables very well. And they are talking very well. And some even advocating put a little bit of vinegar in your water when you're washing those vegetables to kill this bug that is this parasite. It's a single-celled parasite that spreads through human feces. And people get it by eating or drinking contaminated food or water, or usually when swimming or when eating raw produce. You do not get it from another person. In other words, someone next to you cannot transmit it to you. So, that is important to remember as well. Just remember, please, to wash your produce very, very well. Give it extra bath to just make sure that you are really getting it cleaned off. Months after a Michigan woman, Lynette Hooker, disappeared while vacationing with her husband in the Bahamas, her mother now publicly disputing the husband's account of what happened. Hooker was reported missing April 4th after she and her husband, Brian Hooker, were boating in the Bahamas. Brian Hooker has told investigators that Lynette fell from a dinghy during a nighttime trip on their sailboat and then was swept away by strong currents. By the way, these guys had a big presence on social media. That's why so many people are interested in the case. Her body's never been found, but her mother, Darlene Hamlet, is telling Fox News Digital she believes her daughter made it back to that sailboat before she vanished, and she says she suspects foul play. The Coast Guard retrieved the dinghy used by Brian and Lynette Hooker. They've also taken a very close look at the sailboat. The Coast Guard is not saying anything. They're not disclosing anything. Brian Hooker has left the Bahamas, and he is reportedly in Michigan, but has not surfaced or not responded to any media requests for interviews. He was interviewed for a couple of days down in the Bahamas by the police there. So that case continues to really captivate the attention of a lot of people. This is a great story, in my opinion, out of the Emmys. We talked about yesterday the Emmy nominations coming about. And Beth Ann, I wanted to tell you about this because I'm not sure you saw this story. A young actress by the name of Brittany Allen was on the show. It's on HBO Max, by the way. It's called The Pit. If you haven't seen it, you really should. It's a good show. And she played a character called Roxy Hamler. And she had the storyline was extensive because she played this character over several episodes of The Pit last season. And she was a terminally ill cancer patient who appeared in 7 episodes. And she had been on All My Children. In fact, she won a daytime Emmy for that. Well, she self-submitted for the Emmys for Outstanding Guest Actress in a Drama Series for The Pit, and she got nominated. So she did not wait around. HBO, The Pit, they did not submit her guest appearance, so she thought she would do it herself. Beth Ann, what do you think of that?
I think that's such a cool thing to do, to just kind of stand up and know your worth.
Yes.
Because in careers like that, like, you're easily overlooked when it comes to that industry. So for her to be brave enough just to be like, I know what I'm worth, and submit herself, like, I applaud that.
And in addition, she got the nomination.
Yeah.
So it's not like, she actually was eventually nominated for this. So this is, here's what she had to say. This is a direct quote. As a working class actor, I have become very familiar with being overlooked in my career, and you toughen your skin and you just keep your head down and you keep working and you keep bettering yourself. This is what she told the Hollywood Reporter. But she said finally she was done with that. She was struggling to find an agent here in the United States because she's Canadian, by the way, you need an agent, obviously, to get better roles, bigger roles, all that stuff. So she said, that's it. I know I did a good job on that show. I'm going to nominate myself. I say kudos to her. I actually think she might win. That was a fabulous performance. She was excellent. She played a dying mother with her children in the show. It was really very moving. So she did a great job. I'm with you on this one, Beth Ann. You really, at some point, especially with women, especially with young women, you really got to know your worth and you got to stand up for that. So good for her. All right, we'll continue here on JR Afternoon. More to come.
When you first saw her, she was out walking her dog. You didn't notice her at first. But when you finally did, it was too late. Because at that moment, you were speeding. She was out walking her dog and only had a second to let go of the leash. Your foot was on the gas, and her life was on the line. Speeding catches up with you. Paid for by NHTSA.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. Wounded Warrior Project was created to help armed men and women returning home with the scars of war, whether those scars are physical or mental. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
Point! Hey, you okay? You don't normally miss those shots.
I just haven't been as regular lately, and it's making me feel sluggish.
You should try Metamucil. It's been a game changer for me. Metamucil's plant-based psyllium fiber helps trap and remove the waste that weighs you down. Ace, you're moving better than you were last week.
Definitely.
Metamucil keeps you moving. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Learn more at metamucil.com.
Service didn't define their story, but it shaped their foundation. Hear inspirational stories about our veterans as they transition from military service to civilian life on The Veterans Blueprint. Sponsored by VetLife, Sundays at 6 a.m. on 760 WJR.
Scrolling with Haley. I am Haley Carania. I scroll with the homies here in the live chat because there's a lot to scroll through on X, on Instagram, on TikTok.
Cutting through the clutter, one hot take at a time.
Love seeing you all in the chat before the show. I tried to jump in just a few minutes before to say hello. I love the chat interaction. Thank you for helping. But I do it to get all of the videos and all of the content that you won't find anywhere else.
Scrolling with Haley.
Just search that up and I will be there.
Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Your morning is busy, so we'll keep it brief. Upgrade your routine with WJR's 5 Things First Thing. JR Morning with Chris, Lloyd, and Jamie break down the top 5 stories in just 5 minutes. Delivered straight to your device. Start your day by hitting play. Subscribe today on the always free WJR app. It's dangerously hot across southeast Michigan this week. Stay ahead of the heat. Drink water before you're thirsty. Find air conditioning. Check on elderly neighbors. And keep pets inside. If you need a cooling center, call 211. Stay safe, stay hydrated.
WJR Traffic and Weather First.
This report is sponsored by Pro-Life Across America.
Hi, I'm Angie. Did you know a billboard can save a baby's life? It's true. You can make a difference by helping us spread the pro-life message to reach those who are struggling with an unplanned pregnancy. Please make a gift today. Visit prolifeacrossamerica.org.
We've got some slowdowns on M14 eastbound at US 23 due to an accident blocking your right lane. You're slow from Main Street there. M14 eastbound at Sheldon Road, another accident causing stop and go from Beck Road. I-94 westbound between Race Road and Sargent Road. An accident blocks your 2 left lanes. You're slow from Mount Hope Road. Looks like traffic getting by on the right shoulder only. I-94 eastbound at Rawsonville Road, another crash slowing you down from Wired Road. I-94 eastbound after Haggerty Road, we've got a wreck there. I-696 westbound, just after Gratiot, steer clear of a crash occupying your right shoulder. Now, WJR Weather First from the Weather Channel, sponsored by North Bloomfield Properties. North Bloomfield Properties is a trusted source for rental property management. They have been for over 3 decades. They handle the advertising, cleaning, and repairing of your rental. Let the experts at North Bloomfield Properties manage your investment property. You can enjoy your weekends again. Visit northbloomfield.com. It's raining in the Motor City right now. Stray showers and thunderstorms expected this afternoon. We'll stay in the mid-80s for now. Scattered thunderstorms for the evening as well. Cloudy skies after midnight will drop down to 70. More clouds for Friday morning, then showers in the afternoon. A high of 82 for tomorrow. I'm Rich Luzensky, WJR Traffic and Weather First.
Friday on JR Morning, we'll get the latest on the Iran conflict, find out about a new public plaza where you can enjoy the city, and hear from at least one gubernatorial candidate. All from 6 to 9 a.m. here on WJR, WJR.com, and the always free WJR app.
Toyota is bringing more Tacoma pickup production to the Lone Star State. The automaker announcing a $3.6 billion expansion of its San Antonio, Texas plant, adding a second assembly line and creating 2,000 new jobs. It's always good news to report when automotive jobs come to this country. Jamie Butters, host of Autotown on WJR, chatting with us this afternoon. Hi, Jamie. I don't think I've ever had a chance to talk with you on the air, so I'm glad to talk with you today.
Hi, Marie. Glad to be here.
Yeah. So talk a little bit about this this particular Tacoma plant opening and these jobs opening up in Texas. Of course, it would be much better news if it was happening here in Michigan, but we'll take the win wherever it happens, right?
Yeah, I mean it's a win for the U.S. It might be a little bit of not the best news for GM and Ford and Stellantis. You know, if Toyota's ramping up Tacoma production, it's already the number one, mid-size pickup. If they're adding more capacity or even bringing costs down by making it in the U.S. instead of in Mexico, I'm not sure if the cost comes down with that these days.
Yeah.
But avoiding tariffs, could make them more competitive, put more pressure on, the Ranger and the Colorado, and looks like, Ram's planning to get back into that mid-size segment. So there's always different dynamics. But yeah, they made the Tacoma in Texas when they built that big truck plant there. They made both the Tundra full-size pickup and the Tacoma. Then they moved the Tacoma completely to Mexico and really ramped up production. They've got 2 different plants making it there. When this expansion was first proposed to get the economic development money, the economic incentives from the state of Texas, it wasn't clear what they were going to make. There was some speculation it might be a smaller vehicle, but this really makes a lot of sense. There's a lot of overlap between the Tundra and the Tacoma, and maybe it'll free up some more space. And so if they make fewer of them in Mexico, maybe they would do a even smaller truck down there, kind of to compete with the Ford Maverick.
Mm-hmm. The reason for the move, is it mostly tariffs? Can we say that?
Well, the main move is the decision to invest billions of dollars in added North American manufacturing. Toyota's really been tight on, they've been running at 100% capacity or more at really all of their plants in the US and even in Canada and Mexico. So there's been some thinking they really needed to invest and do more. And in this environment, they're trying to figure out what's going to work, or and what the rules are. And it's been hard for automakers because the rules of trade have been so much in flux. But a lot of the thinking is starting to be that maybe tariffs aren't going to be permanent, but they're not going to go away as quickly as they came on. So being local, building in the U.S. Of course, the U.S. is a huge and important market for them, but the decision to expand in Texas instead of Mexico, almost certainly tariffs played a part in it. And they've been trying to really make nice with the administration, and an additional $10 billion worth of investments, and this is a big chunk of it.
What do you think the impact of these 2,000 jobs is going to be on San Antonio and the region, and for suppliers?
Yeah, well, it's a surprisingly big city, there's San Antonio, but it's really sprawling. There's they still have a big military presence, but they've lost a lot of jobs over the years. So they really appreciate having manufacturing to balance out with their tourism, healthcare, and military parts of their economy. It's almost doubling the output there. It's going to almost double the employment at that factory, which, being an auto assembly plant, has some of the best wages for regular working people, in South Texas. So it's a really a huge boon for them. And the suppliers, like I said, I think there's a lot of overlap in the components that go into this midsize pickup, same as the big pickup that they make next door. So that could be a real windfall for them, a real chance for them to sell more and maybe make some more investments themselves and create some more jobs down there.
You mentioned it earlier. Do you think this is going to impact the cost of the vehicle, though, at all? We've talked so many times here about the cost of vehicles today in general. So do you think this is going to impact that at all?
Well, Toyota is very cost conscious. They are an incredibly lean company on a global basis. So I'm sure if there are extra costs, maybe labor costs a little more in the U.S., but if they can save some money on tariffs and other expenses that way, they always try to offset their costs. Of course, right now they're seeing a lot of big headwinds because they make a lot of vehicles in Canada and Mexico that get tariffed, and they still make a lot in Japan. And they paid like $10 billion, almost $10 billion in tariffs last year.
Wow.
And really, and North America, Toyota North America lost money even as it gained share. they really took care of their dealers and took care of their suppliers. But they've got to kind of figure that out, because you can't keep losing money when you're the biggest automaker in the world. We've seen how that plays out.
Yeah, absolutely. No, they're not in this to not make money. That is right. That is for sure. Also when we read these kinds of stories, and I kind of said it at the top, this would have been a better story if it was coming to Michigan. Do you think that we're going to see more of this? And do you think Michigan will see any of this action?
It's a tough sell for Michigan, in part because we already have so much manufacturing here that I think they feel like most of the best workers have been taken. Whereas if they go to some place where there's not as much competition, it's easier for them to fill jobs with, people who are so happy to have them, they never call in sick and everything else. But, you look at how things are balancing out, it's like the South is getting a lot more crowded with auto plants, and we have lost a few up here. So I think it's not impossible that someday we could get one, a non-Detroit 3 brand plant back in Michigan. But it is difficult when there's still, so much of the country where there's not as many.
And let's talk a little bit about the suppliers too. We talked a little bit about the impact on them, but this is great news for the suppliers.
Yeah, every time, more assembly in North America, more assembly in the U.S. is good for them. I'll be curious to see, it'll be several years, right, before they start production and we see all the details, but how much of the components come from the U.S., stay in the U.S. Being in San Antonio, sometimes, I've talked with mayors there, and so they consider it sometimes the northernmost Mexican city. So it'll be interesting, will they still get a lot of parts from Mexico because it's such a convenient source for supply? So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out with the new Tacoma.
Jamie, tell us, when can people hear Auto Town here on WJR? How can they access the content?
Yeah, 7:00 on Saturday mornings. Figure auto people are early risers, right? They'll get up early even on a Saturday. If they're on their way to Cars and Coffee, they can tune into 760 and catch the latest. If they miss the show, if they sleep in, it's online. You get it on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and iHeart. So all your basic podcast platforms.
You know what? The automotive reporting, I've reported on it my whole career, not solely on automotive, but it's just, to me, an endlessly fascinating thing to report on. And you're so lucky that it's your beat. You really are lucky to have that as a beat.
Absolutely. To be able to live here in the Midwest and cover a global industry, it's been a great way to live my career.
Absolutely. Jamie Butters, host of Auto Town on WJR. You can also catch his podcast too on WJR.com or join him live on Saturday mornings at 7 a.m. Jamie, thanks so much for talking to us today, giving us a little insight into this big Tacoma move in Texas. We appreciate it. We'll talk again.
Anytime, Marie.
And we will be back here on JR Afternoon.
When you've got real work to do, Metal Supermarkets will help you get it done fast. With a huge variety of metals in stock, we can help no matter what job comes your way. And all it takes is a few clicks. We make buying metal online easy so you can spend less time shopping and more time getting things done. Metal Supermarkets, the convenient stores for metal. Place an order online today at metalsupermarkets.com.
The cost of mesothelioma treatments can exceed $400,000, and families often face losing their homes and life savings just to pay the bill. The Rights and Claims Department of Flint Cooper has helped victims secure financial support they need to pay for their care and ensure their family's future. If you've been diagnosed with mesothelioma and don't have legal representation, call Flint Cooper now at 800-606-8169. Time is running out for you to file a claim, so don't wait. Call 800-606-8169 for a free consultation.
Your Your child's education is the foundation for tomorrow's leaders. Listen every Sunday at 3 p.m. for School Talks, hosted by respected educator Dr. Robert Livernoy. It's a conversation on all things education, from parents and students to educators and policymakers. School Talks is dedicated to in-depth discussions and analysis with experts on a wide range of topics in education. Sponsored by Wakely Associates Architects. The highest performing school facilities start with premier architectural design. Wakely Associates Architects, trusted since 1951.
Hennion and Walsh was made for people like you. People who value speaking to the right people at the right time. That's why we answer the phone ourselves, to understand you and help you invest for the life you want, because you've earned it. We're Hennion and Walsh, and a human connection. Get a second opinion. Call 800-279-5279 or find us online. Investing involves risk, including the possible loss of principal. Advisory services provided by Hennion & Walsh Asset Management. Securities offered by Hennion & Walsh Inc. Member FINRA SIPC.
Fox News, I'm Tom Graham. It's day 4 preliminary hearings to decide if there's enough evidence against Charlie Kirk, suspected shooter, to go to trial. Tyler Robinson's former roommate said he asked him about the killing.
I just asked him in person if what he said was true the night before, and he said it was. I started crying a little bit and said he wishes he hadn't done it.
Lance Twiggs there. As proceedings continue in a Provo, Utah courtroom, Robinson is charged with aggravated murder. U.S. military hit Iran with back-to-back strikes this week after claiming Tehran targeted 3 commercial vessels in the Strait of Hormuz.
CENTCOM reports U.S. forces hit about 90 Iranian military targets, including their air defense systems, their coastal surveillance assets, their missile and drone storage sites.
That's Fox's Aisha Hasni. America's listening to Fox News.
WJR Traffic and Weather First.
This report is sponsored by Guardian Alarm.
For both home and business security, there's only one team you should trust. Guardian Alarm has protected Metro Detroit for over 90 years. Get smarter security done right from day one. Call 1-800-STAY-OUT today.
WJR Traffic and Weather First is sponsored by Weingarts. Join Weingarts during their Time to Mow summer event going on now. Let their experts help you find innovative products for your lawn from top brands like Cub Cadet. Cub Cadet Tractor's premium performance will help you unlock the possibilities of your lawn. Visit Weingarts.com to see their complete equipment lineup and shop parts online. We still have that wreck blocking your right lane on M14 eastbound at US 23. That accident on M14 eastbound at Sheldon Road is cleared. Still seeing a little bit of stop and go from Beck Road. I-94 eastbound after Haggerty, we've got a wreck blocking your right shoulder and construction blocking your 2 right lanes on I-275 southbound at I-75. Going to be that way until 9 this evening. Now, WJR Weather First from the Weather Channel. Mostly cloudy for the remainder of the afternoon. We might get a stray shower or thunderstorm. We'll stay in the mid-80s. Scattered thunderstorms for this evening. Cloudy skies after midnight, dropping down to 70. Cloudy for Friday with showers in the afternoon, a high of 82 for tomorrow. I'm Rich Luzensky, WJR Traffic and Weather First.
Point. Hey, you okay? You don't normally miss those shots.
I just haven't been as regular lately, and it's making me feel sluggish.
You should try Metamucil. It's been a game changer for me. Metamucil's plant-based psyllium fiber helps trap and remove the waste that weighs you down. Ace, you're moving better than you were last week.
Definitely.
Metamucil keeps you moving. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Learn more at metamucil.com.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ethos.com/term. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Hi, it's Paul W. Let's talk about the roof on your home. A lot of you will need to replace your roof this summer, but be forewarned. There are roofing companies out there that skip over the most important part of the process, the attic ventilation. You see, if your attic doesn't have proper air circulation, it can cause problems such as mold and wood rot, leaks in the winter, not to mention higher AC bills in the summer.
This is one of the reasons I recommend Victor's Home Solutions to my listeners. Their process begins with a free 21-point roof inspection that includes a thorough inspection of your attic. They know that if the ventilation isn't right, the roof will be built on a shaky foundation. Every Victor's roof comes with a well-thought-out attic ventilation plan, and that's why they can offer a 50-year leak-free guarantee on every roof they install. Money-saving discounts and financing incentives are available. Call for your free 21-point roof inspection and estimate today. 866-VICTORS, 866-VICTORS, or victors.com.
America 250, Michigan made.
Up we go into the wild blue yonder.
Imagine the sky in the early 1900s. Airplanes were new, fragile machines, mostly flown by daring test pilots and military men. Passenger flights were almost unheard of, and many people still doubted that flying would ever be safe or common. Almost every pilot was a man. People said flying was too dangerous, too complicated, and too bold for a woman. Ohio might have had the Wright brothers and their famous early flights, but Michigan would soon have something just as historic. The first woman in the United States to become a licensed pilot. One young woman growing up along the shores of Lake Michigan near Arcadia refused to accept limits, so much so that she was the first woman to cross the English Channel in an airplane, inspiring future generations of girls to study math, science, and aviation. Michigan's own Harriet Quimby.
America 250, Michigan made. From 760 WJR. Wake up tomorrow with JR Morning with Chris Renwick, Lloyd Jackson, and Jamie Edmonds on 760 WJR. Right now, it's JR Afternoon with Ryan Ermani.
I'm Marie Osborne sitting in for Ryan this afternoon. We want to let you know that for the last segment of the show, we're going to open the phone lines. We're giving you fair warning here at 1-800-859-0957. We want to know if you saw that debate last night between the Republican candidates for governor, Perry Johnson, Mike Cox, John James. We talked a little bit about it earlier in the show. We got Jason Roe's take on it. He's the principal of Roe Strategic. But we want to hear from you. Did you watch? Did it help you solidify in your mind who is the best candidate for governor in your mind, Republican candidate? If you're a Democrat, did you watch? What did you think of the debate? Did anybody stand out for you? Could any of these people sway your vote? Did you learn anything new about the candidates? Are they helpful in any way? Give us a call at 1-800-859-0957. We're going to be taking your calls coming up in just about 10 minutes. But first, before we get there, Vista Maria is a Dearborn Heights-based nonprofit with roots dating back to the 19th century. They have a wide range of services: mental health treatment, foster care, adoption services, also independent living and services for victims of human trafficking. And earlier this year, 6 women who were former patients at Vista Maria sued the facility, alleging they were sexually and physically abused during their stays there. But they haven't stopped there. These victims, survivors are calling for an expansion on the statute of limitations on sexual assault cases in Michigan, and they are pressing for that. They had a press conference this afternoon. Joining us to talk a little bit about that is their representation. Anaya Neal is the co-counsel on this case, this action against Vista Maria, representing the survivors. Anaya, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So why don't you explain to our listeners, what are the statutes of limitations right now in Michigan for victims who allege they've been abused?
Well, as it relates to sexual abuse,
yes,
it is until they are 28, so 10 years after they reach the age of majority. Regarding other abuse, or specifically different causes of action, for example, intentional infliction of emotional distress or sexual discrimination, or some of the other counts that we alleged in our complaint, they are only 1 year after the age of majority, which would be 18 plus 1, so age 19. So there are huge needs for reform in the state of Michigan, because generally minors lack the practical ability to investigate wrongdoing or to obtain legal counsel or even to initiate litigation.
Or I've often read and heard and I've interviewed many victims myself where they say, I didn't even realize I was abused until many years later. They either suppress the memory entirely, or because of their immaturity, and I mean immaturity in terms of development, they didn't realize, you're not supposed to be treated in that way.
Absolutely. Research has absolutely found that many people who experience childhood sexual abuse or other abuses do not disclose it until years or sometimes even decades later. And, that's definitely because of fear. Sometimes people are just embarrassed or are shameful, even though they shouldn't, blame themselves. Sometimes there's manipulation by the abusers. Obviously psychological trauma, sometimes family pressure, or sometimes even dependence on the predator. And so if the statute of limitations expires before someone is ready or even able to come forward, then many survivors lose that opportunity to pursue a civil claim.
All right, you need someone in the legislature to support this idea. Are you getting any support?
We are trying. That is definitely something that we constantly do. I had a meeting today, actually, with several people, and am definitely looking this afternoon to reach out to one of our local state reps who actually reintroduced the legislation last month in June regarding survivors.
So you are making headway in that area. All right, let's talk about these young women here that had the press conference today. I understand. I heard it was very emotional. It was very difficult for these young women to talk about this, because you got to understand, they make claims that they were not only abused in their lives, then they went someplace to a facility where they claim they were abused again. So understand that was, what their view of things is. Tell me a little bit about them.
These young ladies are very strong. I am, as I told them today, very proud of them for using their voice. As you indicated, these were vulnerable young children who needed assistance from the state and were placed at Vista Maria for various reasons, and unfortunately experienced a lot of childhood trauma there when they were just looking for safety, for food, for security, for education. And many of them, unfortunately, experienced sexual abuse, emotional and physical abuse. And what they experienced there, unfortunately, has, for many of them, bled into their adulthood and late teenage years. And many of them are still trying to put the pieces back together as it relates to trying to, deal with the long-term effects of trauma. Specifically, some of them, have had issues with education disruption, employment disruption. And so they're really working to get their lives back on track and deal with the trauma that some of them have known for years, but others who have had repressed memories come back in terms of what they were subjected to at Vista Maria.
Anaya Neal, I'm sorry, we're out of time. Co-counsel for the victims who claim they were abused at Vista Maria. They want the state law changed, allowing the statute of limitations to expand so that they can fully form their understanding of what happened to them, and that victims in the future will be able to take legal action. Anaya, thank you so much for joining us today and telling their story.
Thanks so much.
And when we come back here on WJR, we're going to open up the phone lines, 1-800-859-0957. Did you watch the debate last night? What did you think of the three candidates? And did it change your mind? Are you going to vote for one of them based on what you saw last night? We'll be right back here on WJR.
Your sign is your company's calling card, your identity, your brand, and your first impression. The experts at Identicom Signs provide complete turnkey signage solutions, handling every detail from design and permitting to fabrication and installation. Whether you're a restaurant, retailer, healthcare provider, or other commercial business, Identicom Signs can help elevate your company's image. If your brand needs freshening up, visit IdenticomSigns.com. That's IdenticomSigns.com.
I move mountains for a living. Literally. That means I don't carry hand lotion, and when it comes to serious heartburn, I don't mess around with anything but Rolaids Max Strength. Its dual-active formula has 1,500 milligrams of calcium carbonate and magnesium hydroxide that relieves heartburn fast. And the best part? The roll fits right here in my pocket, so I can get back to moving mountains.
Rolaids spells powerful relief. 1,500 milligrams is our highest amount of antacid per tablet. Read each label. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Car accident that wasn't your fault? Michigan law says you may be owed up to $3,000 for your vehicle damage. But there's a deadline, and it comes faster than you think. We're Michigan Auto Law, and we'll handle the whole claim for free. No attorney fee, no fine print. Fill out one form online. We handle everything. You get the check.
Visit 3kforfree.com. Up to $3,000, zero fees. Only at Michigan Auto Law Auto Accident Attorneys. People over everything.
I didn't ask to be thrown in the streets with nowhere to go, but I did ask for help, and Covenant House was there for me.
1 in 10 young adults will experience a form of homelessness this year. For these kids who didn't ask to be put in this unthinkable situation, Covenant House is there, providing hot meals, a safe place to sleep, medical care, and love.
They just really genuinely just wanted to help me succeed, and I'm succeeding.
To learn more, go to safeplacetosleep.org today.
While retinitis pigmentosa takes Mark's vision, his family gives him hope, whether at the family business or at home with his wife and sons. He knows he's not fighting alone. For 50 years, the Foundation Fighting Blindness has funded research into treatments and cures for blinding retinal diseases, providing hope to people with vision loss. And for Mark, winning the fight means being there for his family. The Foundation Fighting Blindness. Together, we're winning. Help us end blinding diseases at fightingblindness.org.
Keep your kiddos entertained and learning this summer at the Village of Rochester Hills. Bring your little ones to Festival Park on Wednesdays for free interactive music classes with Miss Kalisa. Plus, don't miss Bugs on Wheels on select Thursdays and Sundays, where kids can safely see, touch, and hold amazing live insects with the Bug Lady. Free family fun is waiting for you. Visit thevorh.com for dates and details.
WJR Traffic and Weather First.
This report is sponsored by Guardian Alarm.
For both home and business security, there's only one team you should trust. Guardian Alarm has protected Metro Detroit for over 90 years. Get smarter security done right from day one. Call 1-800-STAY-OUT today.
We have an accident blocking your two left lanes on I-75 southbound at Werner Highway. You're slow from I-375. 75 southbound just before Sibley Road. Another wreck there. You're slow from Dix Highway. I-94 westbound between Race Road and Sargent Road. We have an accident blocking your left lane. That's causing delays from Mount Hope Road. Expect delays on I-94 westbound between Gratiot and Linwood Street, and US 23 northbound between Barker Road and Lee Road due to construction. You're slow from 6 Mile. Now, WJR Weather First from the Weather Channel. Mostly cloudy for the remainder of the afternoon. We may get another stray shower or thunderstorm. A high of 87. Right now it's 84 degrees. Scattered thunderstorms for this evening. Cloudy skies after midnight will drop to 70. Cloudy for Friday with showers in the afternoon. A high of 82 for tomorrow. I'm Rich Luzensky, WJR Traffic and Weather First.
Call us or text us. The number's the same. 1-800-859-0957. 1-800-859-0WJR. Powered by Michigan Auto Law. Auto Accident Attorneys. Visit autolaw.com. That's autolaw.com.
And we are back. We want to open up the phone lines, 1-800-859-0957, 1-800-859-0957. We want to know if you watched the debate last night between Perry Johnson, John James, and Mike Cox, Michigan's 3 Republican candidates for governor. Spent a lot of time trading some punches, highlighting differences between themselves and each other. But mostly this was a clear time for Perry Johnson and Mike Cox to chat up John James, to talk about his shortcomings in this race. He is the front runner. He does have President Trump's endorsement. Is that good enough for you? Is that enough for you to vote in this primary? We'd love to hear from you. 1-800-859-0957. All 3 Republican candidates say they want to eliminate Michigan's income tax. Do you support that idea? And what government services would you be willing to cut to make it happen, though? That's the other side of that story. Didn't go into a lot of details last night, so we want to hear from you. 1-800-859-0957. We've got some cuts here of what some of the candidates talked about last night. Here's Perry Johnson.
First of all, I find it very unlikely that is ever going to happen. And I would sit there and reason with him, talk about logically what in the heck is going on. I wouldn't just arbitrarily say, oh, well, this is going to be bad for Michigan. What is it that he could do that would be so bad for Michigan? Let's be realistic. Our whole goal in Michigan is to try to revitalize our economy. People are hurting. I can feel the pain. What we need in Michigan is a situation where we can eliminate the state income tax, bring $4,747 to every family in Michigan every year. Understand that when we ignite our state, the impact is monumental. Every single state in the union that has eliminated the income tax, without exception, has ignited that state. When you have an economy that is booming, it's amazing what goes on. Because right now, let's be realistic. We have 2 things that must be done. We must eliminate the state income tax and reform the property tax, because we have to have people that are feeling really good. Nothing in this world is more painful than when you don't have the money to buy food for your kids, when you have to make a decision over whether I can afford food or books. It's a sin.
Like I told, we talked to Jason Roe earlier in the show, and he talked a little bit about how he thought everybody did. I thought Perry Johnson came off as very much an everyman. That terminology that just kind of talks about someone who has a common touch or relatable to all people. I was surprised by that. So I was surprised that he came across like that. We have audio from each of the candidates, by the way. We don't want to pretend like we're just going to play one, but we'd love to hear from you. 1-800-859-0957. Let's check in with Rod from Plymouth. Hi, Rod.
Hey, Marie. I didn't listen to the debates. However, I know enough about these candidates, and it's not just about the candidates. It's about what the candidates are first going to do when they get into office. And the very first thing is to do a state of the state evaluation of exactly where everything stands and have full transparency and acknowledge that transparency for their entire tenure while governor, and disseminate the real facts of a sustainable state. There are many things and efficiencies that can be eliminated, inefficiencies that can be eliminated. Perry Johnson, this is going to go on too long, but Perry Johnson, I'm an ISO certification guy for the last 40 years. I first helped start these things. Audits are not detrimental. They are a need to see exactly, like I say, where is the state of the state? You cannot have corrective actions just on a whim. You need to see what is sustainable. All of the candidates, Democrats included, progressives included, it all only works a certain way. And it's about how you manage the means that the state has. We can grow business, we can grow affordability, we can educate our kids, which is, we talk a lot about it and we throw a lot of money at it, but nobody corrects it. What are the corrective actions for educating our kids? We don't need to go to other states. There's plenty of educated children that are being educated every day about reading and math skills. So let's focus on Michigan. I better not say anything more. I might take some votes away from these candidates.
Well, Rod, you make a good point, and that is that no, look, we all every once in a while, don't we all look at our budgets at home and go, "Yikes! Where did all my money go? Where do I need to cut back?" And that's what I call an audit. I mean, there's a fancy word, obviously, in accounting that you call it an audit, but we all do that. You're reassessing your finances, and certainly on that point, I think Perry Johnson really did a good job just coming across with that point. I think some of his commercials, personally, leave a lot to be desired, but I think last night he was able to get moving on that point that he just feels that the income tax should be abolished. Again, all three candidates, by the way, agreed to that. Nobody, though, laid out a plan on how actually it would happen and what it would actually mean. Let's check in here and see what John James had to say.
My priorities is, frankly, local control, protecting our water, protecting and preventing pollution, making sure that electricity bills do not go up, and also making sure that we prioritize blighted and brownfields over productive green farmland. That would be my moratorium. That would be our standard. We absolutely cannot have an additional data center until we protect the people and the communities. That's no NDAs. That's making sure we don't have the ground, air, and water pollution, and also the noise pollution, and making sure that, again, we protect local control, no NDAs. Michigan's open for business, but we're not for sale. We need to absolutely make sure that our ag and automotive industries are growing, but we also need to make sure that we are participating in leading the fight with tech and energy and hospitality and maritime and defense. We can do that, but we need to make sure that when we do that, we're not doing it at the expense of Michiganders.
And that was a very good answer to that question. They were talking about the data centers. Here's Mike Cox.
Well, Roop, I'm a fighter and I'm a winner. Here's the reality. I fought Jennifer Granholm when she did the wrong things. I don't need the president's endorsement to be a fighter and winner for the people of Michigan. It's interesting. Congressman James seems very defensive, even despite having the president's endorsement. Perhaps because the last two times he had the president's endorsement, he squandered it and lost. At the end of the day, Michigan Republicans need to nominate and elect a winner. I would speak to the president. I would talk to the president's folks and would reason with them. The reality is the president respects winners, which I've won statewide office twice. He respects people who built their own business. I built my own business instead of being a trust fund baby, a Nepo baby. He respects winners, and I will win and fight for the people of Michigan.
And so that was Mike Cox. Very interesting debate last night. I'm sure they have it up on their website, Fox 2, if you'd like to watch that. Again, it's always great to watch the debates because you really get an insight into who these candidates are. Thanks for joining us this afternoon here on JR Afternoon. I'm Marie Osborne in for Ryan Ermani. I'll be back tomorrow, and coming up next, we have Mitch Albom.